So, hello everyone. My name is Richard Carter on behalf of the State of Connecticut Department of Revenue Services. Welcome to the Connecticut Withholding Tax webinar. Now, today's webinar is going to last about an hour and 15 minutes, I think. So, we have 5 speakers lined up for you. We're going to start off with Melissa Pescatelli. Then we'll bring in Catherine Zandri and Chris Chimura. Then Randy Haraprasad is going to parachute in and do a MyConnect demo for you. And then we have Kelly McLaughlin. And in addition to our speakers, we have a Q&A of the most frequently asked questions that we have received via phone calls and email. Now, we'll get to all of that in just a minute or so, but I have a few things I need to promote and highlight. So, seeing as we are providing an overview of the withholding tax, we recommend you download the Employer's Tax Guide Circular CT. It is a DRS publication, and it is a great resource for Connecticut withholding information. And it's available on our website, and it can be downloaded as a PDF. In order to do that, just go to our website, which is located at portal.ct.gov/DRS. Now, once there, along the left side panel, that dark panel you see there, which kind of looks like today, you're going to want to click on For Businesses. There we go. And on the left side there, we're looking for Publications. Yep, very good. Okay, and then the second one down, you're going to see is IP 2024-1 Circular CT Employer's Tax Guide to Withholding. Or if that's not working for you, you can certainly always throw it into the search box and it should pop up for you as well. It's like I said, it's a fantastic resource for information regarding the withholding tax. So we strongly recommend that you download that at your earliest convenience. Now, this morning, we are providing a demo of our new online system, MyConnect. Now, maybe you've heard of MyConnect, maybe you haven't, but I can tell you this, there are many benefits to MyConnect. And among them is this: it is the easiest way to ever file returns or make payments with the Department of Revenue Services. It's simpler, it's more efficient, and it offers self-service options 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, as an aside, even though there is the convenience of MyConnect, you can still file a paper return, but keep in mind that paper takes longer to process. So it'll probably take a couple of weeks to get a paper return through, as opposed to, say, filing with MyConnect, which will just take merely days. Okay, so before we begin, let's hand out our contact information in case you have questions in the coming hours, days, weeks, or months ahead. You can contact us by telephone at 860-297-5962 or at 1-800-382-9463. We do have an email address. You can always do that. Our email address is drs@ct.gov. Or you can send us a message through MyConnect if you already are familiar with MyConnect. And as a reminder, our website address is portal.ct.gov/DRS. And please, if you can, check us out on Facebook, X, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. There's plenty of content out there as well, in addition to the information you would find on our website. All righty then. So we have Kelly and Suzanne behind the scenes keeping the engine running today. So that's going to do it for me for right now. So just so you know, today's webinar is I think you're going to find interesting and very useful. So enough of me. Let's begin the withholding tax webinar at 7 minutes past the hour of 10 o'clock on this, the 24th day of July, 2024. And to get us going, I'm going to bring in Melissa Pescatelli. Now, Melissa is the tax division chief of our Taxpayer Services Division, and that's easy for me to say, and she will share some information about the agency. Good morning, Melissa.
Well, good morning, Mr. Carter, and thank you so much for that warm introduction. Good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the Department of Revenue Services Withholding Tax webinar. I am Melissa Pescatelli, the Department's Director of Taxpayer Services. We are pleased to bring you this event today, which will provide you with important withholding tax information that will help you succeed in running your new business. We have some very knowledgeable team members with us who will provide you with an overview of withholding tax filing requirements, including how to set up an account on the DRS online platform, how to file withholding tax returns, finding important information on our DRS website, and so much more. Our experience at the department has shown that many new businesses miss the first filing and payment of withholding tax due dates because they simply do not know what to do. This webinar will guide and help you understand the withholding tax filing and paying requirements. Having a good handle on understanding the tax requirements for withholding wages from your employees and using the department's technology is critical to your success. To that end, the department's safe and secure online platform called MyConnect will allow you to file withholding tax returns, make payments, and manage your state tax account 24/7, anytime, day or night. It really is the easiest and most simple way to file your returns. The feedback that we have received from employers like you has been overwhelmingly positive, and we are confident that all of you will find MyConnect easy and convenient to use as well. I encourage you to check out MyConnect and make the department's website a favorite on your device. This will make it easy for you to check back often for any tax updates and developments that may impact your business. Now, with the goal of providing world-class customer service, the department has recently hired 20 consumer information representatives to answer any questions that you may have with any of your tax filing or payment matters. This team of friendly and knowledgeable employees stands ready to assist you Monday through Friday between the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. They can help with any question that you may have, such as, how do I file and pay electronically? When is my next payment due? How can I view my business account dashboard? How can I send a message through DRS? Those are just some of the questions that we get each and every day, and we are pleased to help you. Now, you can reach our consumer information staff at 860-297-5962 or 1-800-382-9463. You can also email us anytime, day or night, at drs@ct.gov. Again, congratulations on starting business and hiring people in the great state of Connecticut. Remember that the staff of the department stand ready to help you and will be an important resource for your success. Mr. Carter, it's now back over to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Melissa. We are off and running. Still to come, we've got the MyConnect demo, the Taxpayer Education Center, and the Q&A. Mileage may vary on that, just so you know. All righty then. So let's bring in Catherine Zandri and Chris Chamora. They are revenue examiners here at DRS, and they will now present information about withholding. Good morning, Catherine. Good morning, Chris. The moment has arrived. The airwaves are yours.
Good morning, Mr. Carter. Thank you so much for that wonderful handoff. And so we're going to talk about 4 types of withholding: wage withholding, non-wage withholding, household employer, and athletes and entertainer withholding. And we'll go into those in depth through the further along in the presentation. So we'll start with wage withholding. Most of us are very familiar with it. State withholding is the money an employer withholds from each employee's wages to help prepay the state income tax of the employee. A Connecticut employer must withhold Connecticut tax if the employee is a resident of Connecticut. In general, wages of a non-resident are subject to Connecticut income tax withholding if the wages are paid for services performed in Connecticut. The employer remits or pays over the withholding to the state and will issue the employee a Form W-2, indicating the amount of state income tax withheld from the employee. Now, who is required to withhold? Anyone who maintains an office or transacts business in Connecticut and is considered an employer for federal withholding purposes must withhold Connecticut income tax whether or not the payroll department is located in Connecticut. Any employer required to withhold Connecticut income tax must register with DRS for income tax withholding. If you are not required to register withhold Connecticut income tax, you may register solely for the purpose of withholding tax if both you and the employee voluntarily agree to have Connecticut income tax withheld. Upon registration, you will be treated as an employer required to withhold Connecticut income tax while the agreement remains in effect. Now, Connecticut has a convenience of the employer rule. Generally, wages of a non-resident are not subject to Connecticut income tax withholding if the wages are paid for services performed entirely outside of Connecticut. However, if an employee's state of residence also uses a convenience of the employer test when determining the source of income of non-residents, and the employee works for a Connecticut employer from a location in their state of residence for the employee's own convenience, then the Connecticut employer must include those days as days worked in Connecticut and withhold accordingly. Chris, would you like to report out on how to withhold?
Sure. Thank you. Okay, so for wage withholding, how do we withhold? The taxpayer completes a form CTW4 and provides it to the employer. Remember, DRS does not maintain records of form CTW4, so make sure you send it to your employer. Employers use the employee's completed form CTW4 and the income tax withholding tables, or TBG 2011, which are the withholding calculation rules to calculate the amount to withhold from employee wages. Now here we have a copy of form CTW4, which is the employee's withholding certificate. Now, what's different is the state of Connecticut uses letter codes instead of number codes as compared to the IRS. So you simply find the code that best fits what your needs are. And there's also for people in the armed forces and veterans, there's more information you can find on the MSRRA exemption in publication 2019-5, which is the Connecticut income tax information for armed forces personnel and veterans. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the filing requirements. All employer withholding forms and any amount due must be paid and filed electronically using MyConnect. There are penalties and interest for late filings or non-compliance with electronic filing. So the penalty would be 10% of the tax due. The interest would be 1% per month. Now, the non-compliance penalty could be assessed at 10% of the tax due. And this could be in addition to a late filing penalty and could be assessed even if the return and payment was received on time. So you must remember to file electronically and pay electronically. Okay. Now, the form CT-941 is the Connecticut Quarterly Reconciliation of Withholding. And it follows the standard calendar quarters. So the first quarter is January, February, March, and that would be due April 30th, 2024. Second quarter, April, May, and June, due July 31st. And the third quarter would be due October 31st. And the fourth quarter would be January 31st. Now, Form CT-941 is used to reconcile quarterly Connecticut income tax withholding from employee wages only. So this is just for wages. Employers who are registered for Connecticut income tax withholding are required to file Form CT-941 for each calendar quarter. And this is important, even if no tax is due or no tax is required to be withheld. So you must file every quarter. Okay, and then there's Form CTW3, which is the Connecticut Annual Reconciliation Withholding. Now, this is due on January 31st. Now, Form CT-W3 will be completed as part of the electronic filing process when you upload the state copy of Federal Form W2. Though paper filing is permitted for 24 or fewer W2s. Employers must file Federal Form W2 reporting Connecticut wages with Form CT-W3, even if Connecticut income tax was not withheld. So you must file this form. Catherine, would you like to take it from here?
Sure. Now, Chris talked about the filing frequency, and what I'm going to talk about is the remittance or the payment frequency, which can be much different. The employer's remitter or payment frequency is assigned by DRS based on the amount of withholding remitted or collected in a look-back period. The 12-month look-back period for calendar year 2024 is the 12-month period that ended on June 30th, 2023. So DRS looks back from July of 2022 to June 30th of 2023 and assigns a classification that relates to how much time you have to remit Connecticut income tax withholding to DRS after wages are paid to employees and Connecticut income tax is deducted and withheld from those wages. DRS will notify the employer via MyConnect of their new payment frequency if the prior classification has changed. Most new employers will be classified as quarterly remitters. Quarterly remitter, when they're filing quarterly, they're going to remit the payment with them. Now, quarterly, the threshold is if you collect $2,000 or less, then you would be assigned a quarterly classification, and the due date is the same as the CT 941 due date. Monthly classifications are assigned those employers that collect more than $2,000, but not more than $10,000 in the look-back period. They would remit to DRS the 15th of the following month for which the taxes were withheld. So we're currently in July, and a monthly remitter would remit the taxes withheld from employees' wages for the month of July by August 15th. And then we have weekly remitters, so weekly classification. Those employers collect more than $10,000 in the 12-month look-back period. And the remittance is paid over or made to DRS the Wednesday following the weekly period after payday. The weekly period is the 7-day period beginning on a Saturday and ending on the following Friday. If the payday falls on a Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday, remit or pay over to DRS the withholding collected on or before the second Wednesday following the payday. Pardon me. If the payday falls on a Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, remit on or before the Wednesday following the payday. It's important to note that the term weekly remitter does not refer to how often your business pays its employees. The term relates to how much time you have to remit your tax payment after the payday period. For example, let's look at employer V is a weekly remitter and pays wages every other Friday. Although V is a weekly remitter, V will remit Connecticut income tax withholding to DRS every 2 weeks because they pay their wages every 2 weeks and withholds Connecticut income tax from those wages every other Friday. Let's now talk about non-wage payroll withholding. Non-wage payroll or non-payroll withholding includes taxable distributions to employees for perhaps an employee pension or an annuity, a profit sharing plan, a stock bonus, a deferred compensation plan, an individual retirement arrangement, an endowment and/or life insurance contract. For more information on non-wage payer instructions, please review Informational Publication 2024 and in parentheses 8, Connecticut Tax Guide for Payers of Non-Payroll Amounts. Now, what are the filing requirements for non-payroll withholding or non-wage withholding? All non-wage withholding forms and any amount due must be filed and paid electronically. You must be getting the message by now that it's best to file and pay electronically. Very simple to do. You would file with Form CT 945, the Connecticut Annual Reconciliation of Withholding for Non-Payroll Amounts. The due date is January 31st, 2025. And Form CT 945 is used to reconcile the annual Connecticut income tax withholding from non-payroll amounts only. Payers of non-payroll amounts who are registered for Connecticut income tax withholding are required to file the CT 945 even if no tax is due, tax was not required to be withheld, or Federal Form 945 is not required to be filed. Next, we'll talk about the CT 1096, which is the Connecticut Annual Summary and Transmittal of Information Returns. The due date is also January 31st, 2025, with the exception that a 1099-K is due 30 days after filing with the IRS. Form CT 1096 will be completed as part of the electronic filing process when you upload the federal forms 1099-R, miscellaneous, NEC, W2G, and 1099-K. Paper filing is permitted for 24 or fewer of the 1099-R, miscellaneous, NEC, W2G, or the 1099-K. If a taxpayer is required to file Federal Form 1096, they must file Form CT 1096 with DRS, even if they are not required to be registered with DRS, and they must submit every state copy of the Federal Form W2G, which is for Connecticut lottery winnings paid to a resident and non-resident individuals, even if no Connecticut income tax was withheld, and other gambling winnings paid to resident individuals, even if no Connecticut income tax was withheld. They must also submit every state copy of Federal Form 1099 miscellaneous for payments made to resident individuals or to non-resident individuals if the payments relate to services performed wholly or partly in Connecticut, even if no Connecticut income tax was withheld. And Federal Form 1099-R, reporting distributions paid to resident individuals, even if no Connecticut income tax was withheld. For all other recipients, only if Connecticut income tax was withheld. Federal Form 1099-K, which reports payments to payees located or with locations in Connecticut. And finally, Form CT, or Form 1099 NEC, reporting non-employee compensation for payments made to resident individuals or to non-resident individuals if the payments relate to services performed wholly or partly in Connecticut, even if no Connecticut tax was withheld. Now you're going to group each one of these form types together. Group all your W2Gs together and file it with a CT 1096. Next, group all your 1099 miscellaneouses together and file it with your CT 1096. Not necessarily in any particular order, but the message is for each one of these groupings and types of forms needs its own CT 1096 filed with it and the state copy submitted. Federal Form 1099-K, which reports payments to payees located in or with locations in Connecticut, is due 30 days after filing with the IRS. Payments to online platforms, apps, or payment card processors. Third-party transactions, in other words. If you sold something online and it totaled $20,000 or 200 transactions from any one platform related to goods or services. That's what 1099-K is for. Now, Chris, would you like to take this over while I untie my tongue for a moment and get a drink of water?
Yes, sure. I'm sure you need a big glass of water. There's a mouthful there. Okay. Let's talk about the payment frequency for the non-wage withholding. The payer's remitter frequency is assigned by DRS based on the amount of withholding remitted in a look-back period. Now, the look-back period for non-wage withholding is a little different. It is the second preceding calendar year for which your annual classification is made. So for example, look back period for calendar year 2023 is calendar year 2021. Now, DRS will notify the payer by mail of their new payment frequency if the prior classification has changed. Now, most new payers will be classified as quarterly remitters. Okay, so you would payment frequency be quarterly if you collected $2,000 or less, and the due dates are April 30th, July 31st, October 31st, and January 31st. You'd be a monthly payer if you had collected more than $2,000, but not more than $10,000. And these are due the 15th of the following month. Now you'd be weekly if you collected more than $10,000. Now, as a weekly remitter, you were required to remit Connecticut income tax withholding on or before Wednesday following the weekly period during which the non-payroll amounts were paid. Now, weekly period is the 7-day period beginning on a Saturday and ending on the following Friday. So one of the good parts of MyConnect is the tutorial. So here's an example of what the tutorial like landing page is. So say you wanted to make a payment, a withholding payment, and you were a little confused, you could click on the link and give you a PDF, and it give you all the following instructions. Now, more onto the left of the screen, you can get in, and there's a bunch of different tutorials for all different things, for general, for individuals, for business and bulk filers. So you simply go into there. There'll be a whole list of them. You click into what you need, and they're very helpful and very useful. Now we'll talk a little bit about an amendment to withholding provision that is regarding pensions and annuities. Now, withholding on pensions and annuities is no longer required except for lump sum distributions of certain payments. So if the distribution is in excess of $5,000 or is more than 50% of the balance of the account. So for pensions and annuities, you would use Form CT-W4P. Now, benefit administrators located in Connecticut or doing business in Connecticut are no longer required to provide Form CT-W4P to their clients. But with regard to lump sum distributions of certain payments, payers remain obligated to withhold from qualified distributions if the distribution is, as I said before, excess of $5,000 or is more than 50% of the balance of the account from which such distribution is being made. Now, this legislation is effective January 1st, 2025, and applicable to taxable years commencing on or after January 1st, 2025. But remember, the recipient may still request that Connecticut income tax be withheld. Now, the completed Form CT-W4P should be submitted to the taxpayer's pension / annuity payer, not to DRS. So send it to your pension or annuity payer. And then on this screen, showing an example of the Form CT-W4P, which is the withholding certificate for pension or annuity payments. And again, this has letter codes, so you simply pick the code that best fits your description, what you need. And then they're also on this, if you wanted to do additional withholding or reduce your holding, there's the options on that too. Catherine, would you like to take it from here?
Sure, Chris, thanks. That's good information on that new change for the W4P, CTW4P. We're going to talk about household employers now. Now you may say, what is a household employer? Perhaps you have someone in your household that needs a caretaker to stay with them all day. Perhaps help them a companion or a caretaker, and or maybe you have a large estate and you have a gardener. You've hired somebody as a gardener to manage all of those wonderful plantings and beautiful decorations and bushes. Okay, so your household employer, as a household employer, you are not required to withhold Connecticut income tax from wages of a household employee, but may do so voluntarily by agreement. We spoke about that earlier. It must be voluntarily agreed to by both the household employer and the employee. If the household employer withholds Connecticut income tax, they must register with DRS for withholding by completing the registration process in MyConnect. Very simple to do. Again, tutorials to help you through that. And of course, we're always available by phone. Now, what are the household employer filing requirements? Well, the form CTW3HHE, which stands for household employer, is the Connecticut Annual Reconciliation of Withholding for Household Employers. The due date is January 31st, 2025, for the 2024 tax year. This return is used by household employers only. All household employers, whether registered or unregistered, must file Federal Form W-2 with the CTW3HHE, even if no Connecticut income tax was withheld. Household employers registered with DRS file the CTW3HHE electronically. Household employers not registered with DRS file a paper form, CTW3HHE, with the paper Federal Forms W-2, and they're reporting Connecticut wages paid. Enter the words household employer in the space reserved for the Connecticut tax registration number on the form. No electronic filing option is available for household employers who are not registered with DRS. Form CT-941HHE, the Connecticut Reconciliation of Withholding for Household Employers, is due April 15th, 2025. Household employers registered to withhold Connecticut income tax from their household employee wages must file one Form CT-941HHE for the entire calendar year, even if no tax was withheld. And the last category we're going to briefly touch on is athletes and entertainers filing requirements. We have CT as a form CT-945 ATHEN, ATH, athletes, EN, entertainers. It's the Connecticut Annual Reconciliation of Withholding for non-payroll amounts. The due date is January 31st, 2025, and this return is used by designated withholding agents and of athletes and entertainers only. With that, they file Form CT-1096 ATHEN, which is the annual summary and transmittal of information returns. The due date is also January 31st, 2025 for the 2024 tax year. And if you made payments to athletes or entertainers, and you are required to file Federal Form 1096, then you are required to file Form CT-1096 as well. Mr. Carter, are you still with us? And would you like to take it from here?
Yes, I'm still here. Technology is a wonderful thing when it's working. So it still seems to be functioning at this point. So that's Chris Chimura and Catherine Zandri, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to take a break, but they will join us again for the Q&A at the end. And speaking of the Q&A, that is still to come. But first we have Taxpayer Education Center before that, but now we have Randy, who's here to give a demo on the aforementioned MyConnect. Randy is a revenue examiner in our electronic filing unit, and he will introduce you to our, I'm sorry, he's a principal examiner. What am I doing, revenue examiner? But he's a principal examiner in our electronic filing unit, and he's now going to introduce you to our online system, MyConnect. Good morning, Randy.
Good morning, Mr. Carter. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Randy Hari Prasad, and I work here at Connecticut Revenue Services in the electronic filing. And today we'll be talking about MyConnect, how easy it is to get into MyConnect to file and pay your payroll withholding tax. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Just bear with me here for a second. Okay, so there are a few ways to get to MyConnect, and we kind of make it very easy for you to get there. You can simply go to Google and type in CTDRS MyConnect. It will pull it up, or you can just simply type in CTDRS, and in Google is going to list it out for you, like Connecticut Department of Revenue Services, which will take you to our Revenue Services webpage, or you can simply click into MyConnect, and it will take you into MyConnect. The other way is to go type in the URL, which is portal.ct.gov/DRS. And that will bring you right to our portal again. And on our homepage, you will see under the most popular, you will see MyConnect, file, pay, and register taxes online. All right, I'm going to go ahead and click into this link, which will bring me into MyConnect. And this is how our MyConnect page looks like. But before we get into logging in and show you all the good stuff, I also show you one more other features that we do have to offer by not logging in, and we can go through those. But I will go ahead and switch my screen to our testing environment, so this way we don't mess up our production environment. Just bear with me. Okay, so there you go. So here is MyConnect. You don't have to create a username and password. There's a lot of submissions that you can get done here. For example, let's say if we can start out by saying that if you need a CT registration number, let's say if you have a business and you're brand new, you don't have a CT registration number with us, you can simply click New Business, Need a CT Registration Number on this business panel link here. Once you click on that, that will bring you to fill out the registration application. Now, let's say if you already have a CT registration number, you will not go through here, but even if you happen to go through here, we will give you a message when you start completing the application saying that you need to create a username and password and logging into MyConnect. And then once you logged in, and I'll show you more later on how to maintain your account, that's where you can add and update locations and add additional tax types. Make a bill payment. I'll drill into this. This is very easy for, actually, 1 second. I just get thrown out there. So make a bill payment. Once you click into the make bill payment, when the department send you a bill, for example, I'll click onto that, and you will see that upper right side of there's a bill letter ID. You can use that letter ID to make your bill payment. Plug that letter ID in there, and we'll pull all that information for you, and then you can just simply make your bill payment by not logging into MyConnect. We have some file returns and extensions, not a lot of them by not logging in, but when you log in, there's a lot more. I'm not gonna, spend time on go through each one of them, but I will just give you a high overview. But when you have time, check it out. It's really useful. There's a lot of information on here. For additional resources, all these links here will take you to our DRS page with a lot more information. The one that we'll be talking about later in the demo is the third-party bulk filers. And I just wanted to click into here so you can get an idea what it looks like. This is our Department of Revenue Services page. And on here, there's going to be a lot of information such as file uploads, and we'll talk more about the bulk filers if you do want it to become a bulk filer to file many returns. I'll go back to my screen here. We also have tutorials. They're very useful. You can check them out. You know, how to file a sales tax return, how to create a username, password, and there's a lot of different tutorials for you. Search submissions. You can search any submissions that you've done by not logging in by using the Find Submission hyperlink. We also have the 1099 miscellaneous and non-employee compensation forms. These are due ending of January of every year. You do not need to register with Connecticut Revenue Services to file these forms, so that's where we make it available for you. Just click into it and complete the process. The individual panel, this is very useful from January to April, even within the year where someone wanted to make extension payments, estimated payments, look up where their refund is or what's their 1099-G. We also have a view tax calculator here for you for your assistance when you're filing your individual income tax return. All right, so let's get started by creating a username. I'm not going to go ahead and create a whole username, but many of you, I'm assuming, already know how to create a username, or you already have a username and password. But I would briefly wanted to show you where you will create a username for the first time by clicking on Create a Username. It will bring you some requirements here. I click Next, and then I have my access type. One of them will say individual user, business user, or the third-party bulk filer. And again, we'll talk more about the third-party bulk filer. So if you're a business user, let's say if you wanted to sign up for payroll withholding, then you click on business user and then you enter the necessary information. So it's basically going to ask you for your federal ID, which is your FEIN number, or your Connecticut tax registration number to sign up. And then you put the business last name or the taxpayer's last name in there. And then that's the first authentication. And then when you go next, it'll ask you for some more information to create the username and password. I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of there. And I'm going to talk a little bit about forget username and password. So, you know, people tend to forget username and password. So let's say if, for example, if you come in here today, you create your username and password, you know you're making payroll payments to the department every week, but next week you come in, you forget to write it down, you forget your username and password. It's very, very easy. We make this for you. You can self-service yourself here without making a call to DRS by clicking on the forget username and password. You simply enter your username, click submit, and if your email address is valid, and it's we will send you your username to the email address when you signed up with your username and password at the time. So you will get that username in your inbox. Let's say, for example, if you forget your username, you will click on that and then you will enter the email address and we will send you the username as well. So it's, you know, there's a different ways to retrieve your username and password on MyConnect. All right, so I already created a username and password for my business. So now I'm going to log in to get into MyConnect. And I'm going to enter my username. And I'm going to click login. And when you logged in for the first time, you create a username and password for your account. We do have a two-step verification process. This is just like an extra layer for your security, an extra layer of security for your account. So you don't have to set it up. We do have a disable button here. You can say you wanted to disable it. But let's say if you wanted to reactivate it again, you just once you log in, you go to your My Profile and it will be there for you to turn on again. So you can turn it off and turn it on anytime, but it's just an extra layer of security for you. And to do that, you can use your phone number or for text messages or email, or you can do the authentication app. So I'm going to go ahead and disable that for now. And as you can see, now I'm in MyConnect. Upper left side here, I have my company name, have my registration number, my business address. Upper right side, it says Welcome Randy Test. And I can manage my profile there. There's a lot more information on there. And as you can see, the first screen here is a summary page. It shows that I registered for sales and use tax and payroll withholding tax. We'll talk more about the payroll withholding tax, but I do wanted to show you some other features that we do have in here in My Connect, which is very useful. So for example, the Action Center. As you can see here, I have 4 items in there. So any correspondence, any return that's due 5 days, or any returns that due 15 days later, we will send you all that correspondence. We will send you notifications in your Action Center. So, I really advise you that, check out the Action Center. Everything that we sent will be in your Action Center for you. Any letters or anything like that will be in the Action Center. It's really useful. We do have the More tab. The More tab, we have different panels here, as you can see. The first one is the submission, so you can manage your payments and returns, or you can search any prior submissions. So let's say if you filed 2-3 years down the road and you wanted to go back and pull up a submission, just simply click on search submission and you are able to retrieve that information. Taxpayer update panel, this is very useful. And remember earlier I talked to you about if you do have a Connecticut registration number, you're not going to use that link, need a CT registration number. You will simply create a username and password, come into My Connect, and then you can click on add additional accounts and locations. So for example, I have sales and use tax. Now I start hiring employees and I need payroll withholding. I'm not going to sign up for a whole new Reg 1 form. I'm going to simply create my username and password, come in here, click on the add additional accounts and locations, and then I'm able to register for my payroll withholding. Or, for another example, if I have another business down the road and I wanted to open another location, this is where you're going to come and do all of this, maintain your account. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of this. Manage names and addresses. Addresses are done instantly. No worries. Like you come in here. Addresses are important. That we correspond in my mail with you, and we want your address to be valid in the system. So if you need to update your address, log into My Connect, click on Manage Names and Addresses, update your address. It's done instantly, and you can see the update on your end in My Connect right away. Add and update officers, you can do so. Close accounts. You can close your accounts on My Connect with no problem. So for example, if one of the tax types that's not eligible to close on My Connect, we will give you instructions. Once you click into it and you're not able to close it on My Connect, we will tell you what to do. We'll tell you where to mail it, mail the information, or what we need from you before closing your account. Reopen accounts, you can come here, reopen the account as well. You do not need to send a mail or email or, call DRS for that. You can simply come in here and get all of this done for you. You can correspond with DRS securely through the message system. You can even send attachments. These are all secure. You can view your letters, or you can request a business status letter here on My Connect. And there's some other panels here, like request a penalty waiver. You can do so. Again, here is the informational return, the 1099 miscellaneous and non-employee compensation, power of attorney forms you can submit, or if you have any tax exemption certificates, you can do so by completing these. Click on the link and complete the reg forms. Or if you have a missing refund, a lost or stolen check, you can report that as well on Form CT 3911. I do want to talk a little bit about the add access to another business or individual income tax. So, for example, right now I have this standalone company, and now I'm starting to, I have a few more other companies that I wanted to file and pay for. Instead of having multiple logins, username and password, you can have one login. And once you logged into the system with that one login, you will have all the different companies lined up for you there display, and then you can choose which one you wanted to work with. And those are called Account Manager. And this is the link where you will add your additional companies in here, which is the link that says add access to another business or individual income tax. You know, we find this very useful. A lot of people do like it because it makes it easier for them to have one username and password, and they can access all their accounts at once. Okay, now we're gonna go back and return to, actually I do wanted to show you a little bit of manage my profile. Manage my profile, you know, you can make updates to your email address here, your phone number, or change your security questions. And right here, the two-step verification process is still here. I know I disabled it earlier, but you can enable it and set it up if you'd like. I'm gonna return back to the summary page. And now I will show you how to file a CT 941, the reconciliation. And as you can see here, it's telling me my CT 941 needs to file every quarter, which is the payroll filer. And if I scroll down a little bit, you can see that my payment frequency is monthly. So I pay in every month. So when I cut my check for my employees, I pay it in every month to the department. And you can do so by clicking on make a payroll payment. But before we do that, I'll show you that a little later. We'll start out by filing the CT 941, which is the quarterly reconciliation. I'm going to go ahead and click on the File Now link, and this will bring me into the CT 941 form. Many of you probably already seen how this looks like, so I'm just going to go through very quickly here. I'm going to enter my gross wages, then enter my Connecticut gross wages. And then I'm just going to ask me to enter my tax withheld. If you do have any credit from the prior quarter, it will display here for you. As you can see here, it's telling me that my payments made this quarter is $2,075, and then I have a credit when I'm filing my 941. But I will go ahead and take that dollar amount because I wanted to show you when I owe with a CT 941. So for example, I'm telling the system that my tax withheld is $1,500, but I did not make any payment. So now I can go next, and I'll show you the payment options. But before we do so, I do wanted to show you a very cool feature that we do have to offer in MyConnect. So for example, if you're filing a return, not only the 941, any other returns that we do support in MyConnect, and you're in there and you do not have all the information, for example, you know, you just have to wait till your boss come back tomorrow because, you know, they're off today and you just need that information. Don't worry, you do not need lose all this information. You can come back in here and start the process again where you left off by clicking on the Save Draft feature. This Save Draft feature will save your return for 30 business days in the system. After 30 business days, the system will automatically wipe out your return that you save if you've done nothing with it. Before the 30 business days, we will let you know, we'll send you an email, let you know that, hey, Randy, you have a return that you save draft. If you would like to continue editing, just go in by this date and continue editing and finish off the return, or you'd have to do nothing. The system will automatically delete it for you. So I'm going to say, instead of finish later, I'm going to say continue editing. And I'm back into the return. I'm going to go ahead and click next. And now, you know, my line item summary here, as you can see, it displays everything here for me. I'm going to go ahead and click next. And now it brings me to make my payment. The payment method that we do have in MyConnect here is you can use your bank account, which is free, checking or savings account. There's no fee or anything involved in that. We also have the credit card, but there's the credit card is there's a fee for the credit card, and that goes out to our vendor, ACI Inc. If you're setting up ACH credit payment with your bank, and the bank will send us the money, this will be the option right here, ACH credit, pay after filing. But today, for today's purposes, I'm going to show you how to make a payment from your bank account, checking or savings. I'm going to go ahead and click next, and this will bring me to now to choose either bank account or credit card. I'll choose bank account, click next, And then I have my dollar amount in here. We ask to confirm the dollar amount. I confirm the dollar amount. I have my date in there. You can pick the dates that you want it for the payment to come out, but I'll go ahead and choose July 24th. So for example, I use this account already. So as you can see there, my Bank of America account is displayed. I can use that, or I can say a new payment channel. So for example, I click on, I use a different payment channel. Now I need to enter that information. I'll say direct payment, enter my routing number. Once you enter the routing number, you will see the bank name display here for you. Then you know that you're actually entering the correct routing number because you will know it's your bank. Then you're going to go ahead and enter the account number, confirm the account number, and it's either checking or savings. I'm going to go ahead and say checking. And now the system is going to ask me again if I wanted to save it for future. Yes, because I know I come in here every month to make payroll payments, so it makes sense. I don't have to type all that information all over again. When I come in, I'll just click. It will default to that payment channel, and I'll just click on it and continue with my filing. Now I click next, and my last step here is my terms and condition, where they ask me for my signature. So the electronic signature is basically you enter your name. Once you enter your name, first and last name, you click submit, and there you go. That's your confirmation number, and you will also receive a confirmation number in your email inbox. For example, if you do want a print copy, we do have a printable view copy, and this copy is a PDF copy, so you can print it out for your record. As you can see here, the first half is a lot of demographic information, then we have the payment information, and we have the different line items, the figures that you entered. So let's say if you walk away by mistake or you forgot to click on the printable view and get a PDF copy, don't worry, I'll show you how to go back and get it later on. You can come back anytime in My Connect and get it under the submission tab. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK on this, return to my summary screen. And as you can see, if I scroll down, my return is now says submitted, and I can view the submission here. I'm going to click on the More tab, go to Start Submission. And as you can see here, my return is still pending. Even if it's processed, you can still come back here, click on this 941 hyperlink, and you will have the option of a print copy. Once you click on the print copy again, it will open up the PDF. So this will always be here for you. Okay. There's other options in here to withdraw or continue editing or delete submission because you just submitted the return. So for example, if you come back tomorrow, you will have the option for amend only. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly talk about an amend return, how to get to that. So let's for example, if you're looking to amend the older or any other period of the CT941 return, this is the hyperlink you will use on the summary page. It will say View File Returns and View Period Details. Once you click into that, you will have all of your different returns here listed. And you can see here over on the right, it says View or Amend Return. Once you see that hyperlink in there, for example, December 2023, I click into that link, and now I wanted to amend the return. I'll select the Amend hyperlink. Okay, sorry, I have too many screens open, my bad. Let me go back, see if it allows me here. Try this. Okay, so now I was able to click on the amend hyperlink. And as you can see, my banner up here says, this is an amended return, enter the amount that should have been reported on this return to correct the original return. So basically what you're doing is just making any changes to the line items, and then you click next, next, until you get a confirmation at the end, and then you completed your filing of the amended return. All right, I'm gonna return back over to my summary screen here, and we'll do a payroll payment quickly, and we should wrap it up. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on make a payroll payment. I'm going to go ahead and enter my period end date for the payroll payment. and the system is gonna ask you for the payroll date. I'm gonna select the payroll date, today's date. I'm gonna go ahead and click next, and then choose bank account, either checking or savings or credit card again. I'm not gonna go through all the way to the end because it's the same thing that I showed you earlier when you make a payment with the CT941. So you see how easy it is? You just click on a few links, few pages, and you get your return or your payroll payments file completed. I do wanted to touch base a little bit about the bulk filer. Earlier I mentioned about the bulk filing. So let's say, for example, if you do wanted to set yourself as a bulk filer, you want to file for many clients. You want to upload a spreadsheet with many clients, you can do so. We have that option. You can either call us, we will set you up as a bulk filer under your profile, or you can, earlier I showed you the 3 different methods, individual income tax or business or third-party bulk filer. You select third-party bulk filer, create a username and password, and you will have the access instantly to bulk upload returns for your clients. But this will be the link. So once you log into My Connect to bulk upload, you will see there's a link that says Accountant Center. Upper right side here, if I click into that, I'll get to this page, and then you will see that on this page, there's a panel that says bulk filing. Submit bulk files for different tax types and returns. If I click into this, you will get access to all of these returns. For example, if you wanted to bulk upload payroll payments, weekly, monthly, quarterly, you can do so by clicking into this, or non-payroll or W-2s, W-3s, 1099s, or estimated payments for extensions and estimates for 1041 Corp. Sales and use tax, we do have that option as well. Attorney occupation return, and there's a lot more information in here if you need to bulk upload for your clients. So for example, if you do payroll payments, because we're talking about payroll, you'll get to this screen here where it's going to ask you to choose a file, and that's where you're going to choose your spreadsheet file that you created, and you can simply upload that all at once. You don't have to sit there and type in one payroll at a time for your client. And to see more of the file specification, we do have this link right here, and earlier I showed you some information. If you remember this page, My Connect third-party bulk filers. On this page here, if you scroll down, there's a lot of files or spreadsheet solutions, file layouts that you can take a look at if you're interested in becoming a bulk filer to bulk file your clients' returns all at once instead of sit and type one at a time. All right, I'm going to return back over to my Connect page, and I'm going to go ahead and click log out. And that's all I have for today. We talk about the non-logged in, how to get to My Connect, how easy it is. How easy it is to get to My Connect, to create a username and password, forget a username and password, how to sign up, how to maintain your account, how to correspond with DRS, file a CT941, make a payroll payment. It's so much easy to get into My Connect and to maintain your account. We make this, very easy and convenient for you. And thank you all for listening. Back to you, Mr. Carter.
Very good. Well done, Randy. As always, you really should take that show on the road. Maybe you can be the opening act for Aerosmith on their farewell tour. Well done, sir. Well done. Okay, we're coming down the home stretch, folks. So up next is Kelly McLaughlin. Kelly is a state project manager in our organizational development unit, and she's going to provide a quick tour of our Taxpayer Education Center. This should run about 2 minutes or so, and then we'll get into that Q&A that we've been talking about throughout. So, good morning, Kelly.
Good morning, and thank you, Mr. Carter. So today I'm going to give you a brief tour of the DRS Taxpayer Education Center. The Taxpayer Education Center can be found halfway down the DRS homepage at portal.ct.gov/DRS. The Taxpayer Education Center was created through the lens of a Connecticut taxpayer. The TPEDC provides informational videos and other educational resources like registration for any upcoming webinars and new business flyers. We have 2 video series, one for Connecticut residents filing and paying income tax, and the second series is for part year and non-residents filing and paying Connecticut income tax. Then we have videos that are specific to navigating our website. At the very bottom, you can find any previously recorded webinars, and in about a week's time, this webinar will also be posted to the Taxpayer Education Center for your reference. Videos will be added and updated often to reflect the most asked questions from taxpayers. The videos provide a quick and easy walkthrough of the topic presented. Thank you, and now back to you, Mr. Carter.
Thank you, Kelly. A lot of those videos too she created, so I would recommend checking them out. They're pretty darn good. All right, so now it's time for the Q&A. So let's bring Catherine and Chris back in. I believe Catherine did win the coin flip and has decided to take the first question, and Chris is going to defend the North goal here. So let's start us off. Question number 1, Catherine, are you ready?
I am.
Okay, fantastic. I'll take that as a yes. Here we go. So what are the withholding filing due dates?
Well, the quarterly reconciliations are due by the end of the month following the end of the tax period. For example, the first quarter, which ends March, would be due by the end of April. The second quarter would be due, that ends in April, would be due by the end of June. April, May, sorry. The second quarter, this is what happens when you give me too much time off. The second quarter ends June, is due by July. Third quarter, within a month after the quarter ends. Same thing with fourth quarter, is due by January 31st, the month after the quarter ends.
All right, very good. All right, Chris, welcome back. Here you go. Can I paper file?
Okay. Paper filings for returns are accepted only if an electronic filing waiver has been approved by DRS for most returns. If there are less than 24 W-2 or 1099 returns to file with a CTW3 or CT 1096, then the taxpayer can file without penalty. The paper forms may have electronic filing only watermark, but those who qualify can simply write over it.
All right, very good. All right, Catherine, you're up. Here we go. How do I pay my withholding tax?
Well, if you haven't gotten the message yet, we're going to say it again. Please file and pay through MyConnect. Very simple. Randy just showed how easy it is. Filings for 1099s for taxpayers without Connecticut tax registration numbers can be done from the links available on the MyConnect's login page.
All right, very good. Chris, we got another paper question, so you own it. What is the correct mailing address? Take 2 there, Mr. Carter. What is the correct mailing address for paper returns?
Okay, so the DRS mailing address for paper returns is typically located in that form's instructions. But for the CT 1096 and the CTW3, the mailing address is DRS, State of Connecticut, P.O. Box 2930, Hartford, Connecticut 06104 2930.
Very good, thank you. Up next, do I have to send paper W-2s or 1099s to DRS in the mail?
Only mail DRS copies of W-2s and 1099s if filing 24 or fewer and filing by paper return. If filing electronically, please do not send in the paper copies of the W-2s or 1099s. They are keyed in electronically as part of the filing process.
All right, very good. Up next, how do I pay and or file unemployment tax?
Okay, unemployment taxes are handled by the Department of Labor. So the phone number there for employers is 860-263-6450. And for taxpayers claiming unemployment who have questions can call 860-263-6.
All right, Catherine. Now, when I say my pay, I don't mean my pay. Okay, I mean not the me pay or the my pay, but you'll get it. The collective my pay. So how much should be withheld from my pay?
Well, we suggest you use the 2024 Connecticut Withholding Calculator and form CTW4 located on MyConnect as a tool to calculate your 2024 Connecticut income tax withholding. You can find that at the homepage of MyConnect. Very easy to use, great tool.
Yes, it is. Okay, here we go. Chris, this kind of has two parts to it. So what do I do if my bulk filing upload failed and I received an error code? And what if only one or two records fail, but the rest were successful?
All right. For both parts of the question, the electronic commerce unit can assist with questions related to bulk filing errors and error codes. And you can reach them at 860-297-4973, and they'd be more than happy to answer your questions.
Indeed, they would. Okay, Catherine, this is the last question, and oh, look, it's the Daily Double. So, how do I correct a W-2 or 1099 with DRS?
Taxpayers must amend electronically if they previously filed 25 or more forms W-2 and 1099s. Taxpayers must amend electronically even if they are correcting fewer than 25 forms of the W-2 or 1099. And taxpayers who previously filed 24 or fewer forms W-2 and 1099 electronically are encouraged to amend electronically, but may file paper forms without requesting a waiver.
All right, excellent. Thank you both, Chris and Catherine. That's going to conclude today's webinar. I'm going to try and drag this out a little bit because I had an hour and 15 minutes in the pool for how long that this would take, even with the delay. So, but in closing, here's some contact information. If you happen to miss it earlier, if you have any questions in the future, by all means, give us a call. We'll be happy to assist you with whatever that issue might be. Our telephone numbers are 860-297-5962. You can also reach us at 1-800-382-9463, and that's from anywhere. You can always send us an email as well. Our email address is drs@ct.gov. You can also send us a message through MyConnect. So that'd be a good opportunity to take it out for a test drive if that's what you would like to do. And as a reminder, we have our web address is portal.ct.gov, and I'm sorry, portal.ct.gov/DRS. You can also find us on Facebook, X, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. Check out our content there as well. Something I'd like to mention also, we have a webinar coming up. If you're into real estate conveyance, you're in luck. We have a webinar for that coming up on September 4th. For more information, visit our website for more details. So I also want to thank you all for sticking around. An hour and 15 minutes talking about taxes is no easy thing when you have other things, obviously, you want to do, like run your business. So we appreciate you guys sticking around through all of that. So on behalf of the entire team, I want to thank you for attending and best wishes in your pursuit. I also want to thank Suzanne for working behind the scenes and pressing all the buttons and knobs and keeping us going. So thank you for watching. And if you're flying or not, please remember to aviate, navigate, and communicate. We'll see you next time. Thank you, everyone.